So, Season 3 of Reacher. Well, Season 2 has just come to an end, but there's nothing to worry about because we know that a third season is definitely on the way. Whilst Season 2 seemed to have caused a little bit of a divide amongst the fanbase compared to the first, it was still a success in terms of TV shows when it came to breaking records. With the ending of the final episode finishing in a similar way to the end of the first season, it got me wondering about where the show will go when it returns. So I thought I'd take a look at all that's out there, the news about the book being chosen, and give my theories and predictions on what I think will happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Reacher Season 3 Theories Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The story and the book that it will be based on. This is the thing that every Reacher fan has on their mind, with Season 1 being based on Killing Floor, which was Lee Child's first novel in the series released in 1997, and Season 2 being based on Bad Luck and Trouble, which was his 11th. The reveal of which novel the third season is going to be adapting will dictate what the story of the third season will be about, and based on the previous decisions, it shows that the showrunners aren't going in any specific order. Each book is essentially written to be its own individual story that can be read on its own. So there's no true linear way of reading them, which makes selecting the story for the third season all the more unpredictable. It's recently been confirmed that the book that Season 3 is based on has been chosen, and the actor who plays Reacher, Alan Ritchson, refused to reveal any information on which story was being adapted, but he did leave a couple of hints. He said that it's one of his favourite stories and it's on a lot of top 10 lists. As well as that, it's also been revealed that this season of the show will see Reacher in a solo story. Something which will be in complete contrast to the most recent season where he was reunited with his former unit, where for the most part there were always 4 of them sharing the story. The 2 main novels that it's been whittled down to is Die Trying, which is Child's second book and was released in 1998, or Worth Dying For, which is his 15th and was released in 2010. I took a look at some rankings online, and one that seems to be sitting at the highest rated amongst a lot of people is Worth Dying For. According to Goodreads, it actually has the highest rated average score out of all 28 books that are currently out. So it feels like this could potentially be the story that ends up getting adapted. And when looking at the synopsis, it's a solo story that has dark undertones which you could definitely see being adapted to the screen. The synopsis reads as, "There's deadly trouble in the Corn County of Nebraska, and Jack Reacher walks right into it. First, he falls foul of the Duncans, a local clan that has terrified an entire county into submission. But it's the unsolved case of a missing child, already decades old, that Reacher can't let go." This to me sounds like the perfect story for Season 3 of the show. We've seen Reacher in 2 environments where he's needed to team up with strangers and also people that he had a strong connection with. So having a story where he just gets off the bus in Nebraska, falls into a motel, and then the criminal underworld which is connected through the Duncans, who are only a stone drop in the ocean compared to what they're connected to, and a missing child's case plaguing his mind sounds really gripping. It has the complexity, the darkness, the thrilling nature of it, and it's one that I'd definitely be down for seeing getting created. It feels more in line with the tone of Season 1 of Reacher, and I feel I preferred that tone and feel of the first, so that's a good initial sign. Obviously, there are 25 other stories out there if you remove this one from the option, and also Season 1 and Season 2 of the show. But for me, this is one that feels the most aligned with the little clues that we've had so far. The release date. When it comes to the release date of the third season of Reacher, that's something that hasn't necessarily been confirmed just yet, especially considering that Season 2 has just come to a close. But when looking at the release times of Season 1 and Season 2, the first season was released in February of 2022, and the second was released in December 2023, so there were almost 2 years between the seasons. However, one thing that's going in the show's favour this time, which is making it seem like we won't have to wait as long, is the fact that when it was announced that Season 2 was going to be released in December, Alan Ritchson was already on set filming for Season 3 of the show. So it shows that the show has been written and it's already in production and being worked on, which is a great sign for the fact that we may not need to wait nearly as long as 2 years like we did before. Ritchson said a line in a video that he posted where he mentioned that December was the season of hot cocoa and smiles, and now Reacher. Whilst he could have only been saying that because Season 2 was coming out then, it could also be alluding to the fact that Season 3 is planned to be released in December of 2024 too. considering that they were already quite far ahead into the production. I also think that a December 2024 release date is something that would align perfectly with what is usually considered to be the traditional time gap between seasons, which is usually around a year. With the show in production, that leaves them wrapping up the post-production and the marketing, which I think could easily take them to a late 2024 release. So I'm going to say that we're going to be getting a late 2024 or early 2025 release date, so it's not too long to wait when compared to what we had to do between Season 1 and Season 2. The cast and characters. The thing with Reacher is that you never truly know who you're going to get in the characters and cast for the show, because it changes so much as each story is in a completely different location, making it hard for characters to have a continual inclusion. There are a couple of recurring characters that have been established in the Reacher universe, but realistically, there's only a handful of people and they might not all return. Obviously, Alan Ritchson will be returning as Reacher as there's no show without him. And considering that Maria Stern has appeared in 2 of the seasons so far as Neely, there's probably a strong chance that she could be returning again. As after all, she is the person who's closest to Reacher, and she said how she didn't want to leave it several years before seeing him again. When looking at other recurring characters, Malcolm Godwin could appear as Finlay again if Reacher needed him, but I feel we got the fan service of the appearance in Season 2, and it made sense due to geographical location. But maybe next season we might get a brief appearance of Willa Fitzgerald as Roscoe, considering there was a bit of an outcry for her to return this time round. I think Reacher's time with the 1/10th is wrapped up for the time being, and I don't think that Dixon and O'Donnell will appear anytime soon. They got their money and their case was wrapped up, so there's no real reason for them to come back. If the show is going to be adapting the book, which we're predicting that it's going to be, that means that none of the recurring characters from Reacher would be making an appearance, as they don't appear in the novel. Plus, if it is a solely solo story that they're going for this time round, then it will be a whole new cast of characters that we'll most likely see. So in terms of this story and characters that we could go on to see, it means we'll get the likes of the Doctor, Eleanor Duncan, Jacob Duncan, who's head of the Duncan clan, Seth Duncan, Jasper Duncan, and Jonas Duncan, along with many other gangsters and guns for hire which will span across Nebraska, Montana, Nevada, and Canada. The cast for these roles haven't officially been announced, as the creators are keeping everything really close to their chest in order to not ruin the surprises when it does eventually get released. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see if this is the novel that they do choose to adapt, and if these characters end up making their appearance on screen. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about Season 3 of Reacher. A lot of it is just theories and speculation at the moment, but I'm sure more information will be released as time goes on. So, there you have it, Reacher Season 3 Theories Explained. If you want to see a breakdown of every episode from Season 2 of Reacher, then click on the card in the top corner, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think will happen in the next season of Reacher? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.